Hi, I'm Jordan Laurel, and welcome to my show where we make the human experience magical through mental health, mindset, and manifestation. My story is one of radical transformation and rebirth. From depressed, disempowered, and dependent to flourishing within an incredible life I've created, this podcast is me sharing my process of overcoming and creating a magical human experience to help support you as you do the same. Tune in every Monday to feel empowered through stories, wisdom, and lots of super practical tips. Because I am proof you can change your entire life and manifest a life beyond your wildest dreams. Welcome to the Magical Human Experience podcast. Welcome back to the podcast, friends. I'm setting a new record because I am now doing a third solo episode in a row. I've just had so much to share, so much I've been excited to talk about, so much going on, so many things I'm learning, so many things that are helping me. Yeah, I don't know, lots of inspiration. I do have a couple of really exciting guests coming up, so do stay tuned for that. A lot of really amazing women with inspiring stories who I have been inspired by that I think you guys will as well. But yeah, we're doing another solo. And part of my motivation was because it is officially spring. We just hit spring now, and the weather was amazing last week. It's been nice this week, a little chilly, but I personally, it kind of just the way things lined up. I did a life spring cleaning last year and I loved it. I did a 3-day cleanse. I did Kimberly Snyder's waterfall cleanse, and I kind of did a lot of journaling, reflecting, and did a little bit of like a holistic life spring cleaning during that time. And I was like, ooh, I want to do that again. I'd had this amazing cleanse from Kroma Wellness sent to me, which has been really buzzy on Instagram and online. You might have heard of them. I'm going to share more on that. But I had that come in. I literally had it come in like a month and a half ago, and I just haven't had time to do it. And then I was like, wait a second. I can just do it as like part of my like spring cleaning for my life. So obviously I think the physical is so powerful and so important, but also I like to do a bit of a mental, emotional life spring cleaning as well, which is what I did. And I took time during this cleanse that I was doing to do that. And I want to talk about both today because I think it's so powerful. Resets are just so powerful in general, taking time to recenter, tune inward, reflect, set intentions, realign with yourself and your values and where you're going. So I made a cool little packet of journal prompts for you guys. I was blown away by actually how powerful it was for me because I journal a lot and I ask myself really good questions. And I just made this list, and I didn't even like fully go all out on all of them. I'm still going to do a bit more journaling on it because I'm still kind of in my cleanse here. But I have just been like, oh, wow. I've had so many takeaways, so much clarity, so much support in just I don't know, there's things that have been giving me anxiety and weighing me down and making me feel a little bit stuck or unsure, or I haven't been able to make decisions in certain areas and on certain things happening. And doing that journaling, these prompts are insane. I was just blown away the way they gave me so much clarity so quickly, so quickly. We have so much wisdom in our bodies. And I'm just like sitting with that because I'm like, oh my God. The way we don't listen, like resentment and anxiety and bitterness and dragging our feet and procrastinating, like all of those things are our body saying, hey, like I'm not feeling fully on board with this. And that doesn't mean that we always need to like not go forward with the thing anyway. I chatted last week a bit in my intro about how I decide if I want to like move forward with something and pursue something, like it feels expansive, even if I do have the fear and the anxiety and the dragging my feet and the what ifs and the doubts. And the journal prompts that I have in this packet will help you with this, but it ultimately feels expansive and it's aligned with my values and where I want to go. And that's what you got to get clear on because sometimes it's coming from past trauma, sometimes it's imposter syndrome. Like there's lots of reasons why we could not feel good with something. But then a lot of times, though, our body is like actually telling us, hey, this is not aligned for me. Something's off, something's wrong. And I also design these journal prompts to support you in then figuring that out. And I'm going to go through them here in a bit, but I really believe in tuning inward and getting clarity and then doing something about the feedback that you're getting. Because in some of the instances, maybe it is a feeling that's not great because of imposter syndrome, like you're feeling anxiety because you don't feel like you're good enough for I use the example of me starting my podcast, right? So, okay, your body's telling you something. What do you do about that? Because you determine that actually it is in line with what you want to do. It's in line with your values. It's something that's expansive. It's something that your future self would do. So what do you do? Okay, well, there's limiting beliefs. That anxiety is telling you there's limiting beliefs that need to be worked through. Versus I was having anxiety and just not great feelings about going on that date last week. That was my body actually telling me after I got clear, is this in align with my values? Is this something my future self would do? Is this something I want to do? I was like, no, it isn't. Okay, what am I going to do? I'm not going to do the thing. It's so hard. I've had so many conversations with friends about this recently. How do you know if it's your trauma versus how do you know if it's just your brain trying to protect you? And honestly, the questions in this journal packet and the prompts are, are kind of how you do that. Without even realizing it, I like took my internal process for helping myself get clear and I like made a journal packet for you guys. So I'm going to have that linked in the show notes and you can download it as like a little freebie. I'll just put in your email and it'll send you the PDF to download and you can like get started. I printed mine out because I like to write physically, but that's kind of what to expect in this episode. I'm going to be going into that a little bit more and sharing some of my takeaways. And then I'm going to also go into the physical cleanse that I did, which is the Kroma Wellness cleanse, which is also our magic of the week. So we're not going to have like a set magic of the week that I'm going to like do before. I'm just kind of going to dive in. This whole holistic cleanse though, Kroma plus my journal prompts, like that is all. It was all magic. It all really added so much value to my life and to my week. But yeah, I feel like cleanses, recentering, taking the time and effort to check in like this and reset yourself is so, so powerful. So if you have the capacity, if you can't do it for more than like 2 days, that's okay. So I'm just kind of going to go with the flow here and it's going to come out as it's going to come out. If you're watching on YouTube, obviously you'll be able to see some of the Chroma packets and the journal thing a little bit that I printed out here. But if you're listening on the podcast, you can obviously click the links in the show notes so you can check it out yourself, whether it's the journal or the Chroma Wellness cleanse that I participated in. But so getting into this, I feel like it's, again, just so helpful to do this quarterly. I don't always do it quarterly. I start to crave it quarterly, but I definitely do check-ins and resets like this a couple times a year. Again, just we end up going so fast. You guys know I've been running around like crazy the last couple of months. Like so much fun, so much like whining, dining, trips, amazing people, dates, friends. Like it has been so good. So much time in New York. Yeah, when we keep going, and we move so fast, I start to feel a little uncentered. I've shared here, I've been feeling so happy and so low anxiety a lot the last year or so as I've been like really doing this work, building a secure attachment to myself, just dealing with past triggers and traumas. But I do feel when I get so busy, I start to kind of like have a little bit of anxiety creep in a little bit more regularly just because I'm like not fully centered and connected to myself and like fully living from alignment to myself and my values. And I think that's what really breeds depression and anxiety in a lot of people who aren't like clinically depressed or anxious. Like this, so often we have our lifestyle creating it for us because it's like we're just not connected to ourselves, in tune with ourselves, living in a way that really honors our needs and desires and who we are. And that just breeds a lot of dis-ease and presents itself in so many different ways. For me, I often feel anxious. It's hard. It's harder for me to spend the time I need to journaling and centering and reflecting and processing. I do these things. I do carve out time. But having a reset like this where I put a lot of time into it, I always come out just feeling clear. And it's almost like, I'm not good at car stuff, but it's like almost like a car that's like ready to go. Like maybe you filled the gas tank. That's maybe a good analogy. You filled the gas tank, you changed the oil, like the car is in pristine condition and ready to drive versus like if the gas tank's almost empty, you're going to have to stop or if maybe stuff isn't working great, like, you know what I mean? Like you're ready to go. This is not the best analogy. Sorry, guys. But I feel so good right now as I'm like finishing this cleanse up here soon, going into the next few months. Like I recentered, and I'm going to talk about this especially with like my general notes about what felt good and what didn't. I just again, got really clear on the things I want to invest more time in and the things I don't, and my priorities and the things I want to deprioritize. And just having this clarity, feeling really reconnected to what's important, it's giving me clarity in my decisions, my day to day decisions, because I had a lot of decisions to make because I'm headed up to New York today. And I was like, do I do this? Do I not do this? Do I cancel this? Do I postpone this? Do I like all this stuff? And I was like getting really anxious and triggered because I didn't know what to do. And then I was like, oh, I need to live in alignment with my values. Okay, how do I apply these values to these decisions? And it just gives you so much clarity. Knowing your values, really, really, really powerful, really helpful for people who struggle with decision fatigue, which I used to struggle so much with decision fatigue. I was like, I could not make a decision to save my life. So I think these cleanses are really powerful, like any kind of reset, because it just, when you're busy, it's really hard to really be as fully connected to yourself unless you're really good at being intentional about that, which I'm pretty good. And even still, I find myself being like, whoa, okay, we need to pause and slow down and check in and recenter here. And that's what this cleanse did for me. So in the beginning, I set some intentions. I think it's so good to go into anything, whether it's a relationship or a partnership or a job or a trip. I've been doing this for trips lately, to just go in with intentions. Even if you spend 5 minutes, it's literally better than not going in without intentions. I promise you. I promise you. It just, again, will help you with decisions and like in the moment things throughout the trip, or throughout whatever it is you're in. And so I like to set some intentions for the cleanse. And that was kind of the journal prompts. Some of the first things that I have you guys journal out. I share some intentions that I think you should set. I also share a bit of I guess I call it a prayer, whether you're really thinking to say this to God, to the universe, to your higher self, to whatever it is that feels good to or aligned to you. I've been praying a bit recently, and I've been finding it really, really powerful. Like, I just remember, I had a really late night and I was really tired the next day, and I had a lot of like things that I wanted to show up great for. And I was like, please let me feel really good and high vibe and have good energy today and just get through everything and have it go really well. And it did. And I was like, because it's kind of a form of intention. You're setting an intention when you pray, but I don't know, there's something spiritual to me about asking, because we are co-creating. And so it's like asking for help. And I think maybe this is where the value in that lies. Like it kind of takes the pressure off of yourself to do the thing. You're open to accepting help and support, and you're taking the pressure off of needing to do it all yourself. And I think that combination is just so magnetic. I've been really impressed the way I've like just prayed for things, and I've been like, oh, okay. Like I feel supported. And I think that is kind of manifestation is co-creation, right? Like our job is not the how. There is this greater force, whether you believe it's God or angels or universal laws, like there is something that we're working with that is responding to us. And so there is an element of, and I talk about this a little bit in a few other episodes that I've shared, but also a little bit on social media, like feminine energy. I've been talking about receiving. Receiving is a very feminine energy. Like the woman, if you're going to get kind of like very blunt here, receives the dick in her vagina. Like, I don't know why I'm so awkward saying this. Why am I awkward sometimes? But like we're literally meant to receive as women. And like also if you think about dynamics, healthy masculine, healthy feminine, the man loves to show up, to pursue, to provide, to wine, to dine, to pleasure. Like men are givers, women are receivers. And with manifestation, I think there is, some of the masculine energy with like setting intentions and leading, but there's also the feminine energy that then you need to sit into of like receiving the things, allowing the universe to work its magic, allowing things to come to you, being in flow, not forcing, not pushing, not pursuing in a forceful way. It's a very like delicate balance. For me, manifestation is more of a feminine energy. Like, yes, I will show up and do the things, but it's a lot more feminine in the sense that I'm like really trying to stay in flow and receive. And maybe for men, it's more masculine. I don't know. This is an interesting thing that I'd love to like observe, because I feel like a lot of manifestation teachers are females. So there is a very feminine energy to how it is taught typically and talked about, and how it feels for me. But I am curious. I wonder if for guys it is more of a masculine process, and they're in their masculine more, or if it's just an area where they need to be more in their feminine. I don't know. Very curious to think about that. If you're a guy, weigh in, go for it. Let me know how it feels for you. But I think for me, it definitely feels very feminine. I'm very in trust, in flow, in receiving, in pleasure, in flirting with the universe, in enjoying my life, in bliss. Like it is a really beautiful energy. And the more I tap into that in my day to day life, the more I see things come in and flow. And just I get so much more so quickly and so much more easily. So it's a very feminine energy for me. And so I don't know, when I get to in my masculine, I think I block things from coming because I'm trying to force or I'm trying to control because I'm not in a relaxed, trusting energy. So I don't know, I love this element of prayer, of like asking and not feeling like I need to do it all myself. That is just stressful. And I just seem to not manifest well from that energy. So I love this idea of prayer and asking. And so I said a little prayer for this cleanse. And I said, help me to get what I need out of this time of cleansing and reflection. Help me have the eyes to see and ears to hear all I need to support myself in releasing or shifting what's no longer serving me, leaning more into what is, and stepping more into alignment with myself and the next level version of myself I'm quickly becoming. So there's a little bit of like intentions and affirmations in there, like affirming I'm quickly becoming my next level self. But I really was using this like time as a time to realign with like where I want to go and also just shed things because it's like spring cleaning. And I so believe in this principle. I've talked about this a lot. Like on socials and on the podcast, you've got to clear space and let go of the things that are not what you want and are not serving you in order to have room for and be able to receive the things that are. I just know, like, and I'm not saying you have to be perfect about this. And I definitely sometimes have struggled to let go of things and the new things coming in, and it kind of has helped me slash forced me to let go. And I think the universe can be really kind in that way sometimes. But when I let go first, I'm always blown away. First of all, how good the space feels. Like when you feel really securely attached to yourself and good with yourself, like that space no longer is so scary and it starts to feel good. But also, I just, I see the things come in quicker and faster that I am wanting and calling in. And so it's really powerful to release. And again, this cleanse and these journal prompts were so helpful. So helpful for me getting clarity on what I need to release. And now, and I also like journaled out then, as you'll see here, like, what do I do about these things that aren't serving me? And some of them, it's like maybe slowing something down with a person, like dating situation. Maybe it is completely ending it or cutting them off. I had a couple of people that no longer felt aligned, that I felt like were actually not adding value to my life aside from fun. Like they were great people and fun, but I didn't feel like there was any other value add. And that to me is kind of like candy. Like it's nice to have, treats and junk food once in a while, but like I want mostly nutrition in my life. I want people and experiences and projects that are really adding value to my life and helping me grow, helping me serve more, helping me be more of my purpose, helping me just live more the way I want to. And so I was like, okay, there's some connections here that like there's nothing wrong. They're great people, but they're just not really adding a lot of value to my life. And I just need to end this. And so I did. And then there's, maybe a few people where I'm like, okay, maybe I need to like slow this down or like have less time with these people. And then there's some people that I was like, these people are really helping me step into my future self. We're working on really aligned, exciting things together. And I love who I am becoming around them. I love who they inspire me to be. I love who they naturally encourage me to be by like their lifestyle and their mindset. And so I want more of them in my life. And it just having that like clarity helped me see, okay, junk food versus nutrition. And again, like what do we say with diet and eating? 80-20, right? It's okay to have some fun. It's okay to have experiences and live and just enjoy life. But I personally start to not feel great when the things I'm indulging in my life, there's not value add as well. Like ideally it's a value add plus it's a fun time. And I've just manifested that so much in my life. Like I've had so many awesome women come into my life recently that I've had so much fun with, and they've inspired me to be better people. And we're even doing cool shit in the world aligned with my purpose and their purpose together. And I'm like, that is like the holy trio, holy trinity, perfect trifecta, whatever you want to call it. I'm like, that's what I want. It's like fun and helping me be a better person, and hopefully I'm likewise with them, and also aligned with and like supporting my purpose. Like hell fucking yeah, like that's what I want almost everything to be. And so again, having this clarity was just so helpful, but again, I have to clear space. I need to not be committing as much to these people that are just fun maybe if I really want more time for these people that are fun and value and purpose related, you know? And so again, with the I'm just going to go ahead actually and dive into the journal stuff first. We'll get to the physical. But I'll show you the example here. Well, I'll show you a blank one so that you're not like reading my personal journaling. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see this. But it's simple, but it really is for all these different categories I made, ones that feel good and serve me, ones that feel good or don't feel good and don't serve me, and then what can I do to support the ones that do and shift the ones that don't. So you're getting clarity and then you're supporting yourself. You're coming back to your power by coming up with a plan. Okay, how do I shift? How do I make changes so that I am having more of what feels good and serves me and less of what doesn't feel good and doesn't serve me? And again, I was just blown away by some of the things that came up for me journaling out on this. A lot of it ended up coming down to my lifestyle. Like I really enjoyed having more time to center, to reflect, to journal, to work out, to live healthy, to go to bed early. Like I noticed I wrote like Pilates. I really enjoyed a lot of my wellness things. And so like it's so easy when you write down what feels good. Even if you don't know what's serving you or not, write down what feels good because that is such a powerful indicator of what you need to lean into, you know? And so just like seeing all of that stuff and then the things that didn't feel good, I was like, oh, and then I'm able to look at with that clarity again, as I mentioned a little bit earlier, like the people, the commitments, the opportunities, the jobs, like all the stuff in my life, like, is it aligning with what makes me feel good and serves me and supports me, or is it aligning with what doesn't? Well, then I need more of the former and less of the latter. And so I just got so much clarity on just what I want to say yes to, that I want to spend more time planning so I can be more intentional about my yeses. Because I've noticed myself feeling flaky or resentful towards things I've committed to a little bit more than I want lately. And so that to me was an indicator that I haven't been clear on my values enough and then making decisions aligned with them. So it really just made that stand out to me. I was able to clearly see that like it was more of the dating that was pulling me out of feeling good. Whereas my time with the women I've been spending time with has been making me feel much better and more aligned. So I'm like, okay, actually, I want to deprioritize dating. Not that I'm not going to date, but I don't opt into the belief that I need to actively try to date in order to manifest my man. Like he's going to come in the right way at the right time. Like I don't have to do anything. He could just walk up to me and be like, hey, maybe that's what'll happen. But I don't need to be on a dating app. I don't need to even prioritize going on dates to have this happen. Am I going to? Like, if it feels like my inspired action, sure. But it's starting to not feel like inspired action. It's starting to feel kind of like, I don't know that I'm loving the people I'm connecting with on Hinge, or on these dating apps or at these dating events. So it doesn't feel good. So if it doesn't feel good, I'm going to listen to that. And it doesn't feel expansive. It's not in line with my values all the time I'm investing in this, because it's meaning more wine, more nights out that are late, just more giving of my energy, less alone time, less being centered, like, and those were all things that made me feel good. So it's taking the things that feel good out of my life and it's not replacing them with something that's better or equal. So I need to deprioritize dating. And because it doesn't feel expansive and because it's not making me feel good, I think it's the right decision. It's not an inspired action. The inspired action is to date less. And so then I'm going to just opt into the belief that like, well, he's going to just come. I don't need to do that if it doesn't feel good. Inspired action lights you up. It feels expansive. It's stuff that you ultimately want to do. Again, after you've weeded through any limiting beliefs or just like feelings coming from limiting beliefs. It's usually the feelings coming from limiting beliefs that like get us kind of stuck, such as like, I'm not good enough. They won't like me, like those things that hold us back. It's so simple again, but it gives you so much clarity. And I did this in multiple categories: habits, tasks. And again, these are all here that you can just download and print and like journal out yourself. It is wild just how supportive and helpful doing this is. Spring clean your life. Trust me, I feel so much more aligned with myself. And then I did like habits. What habits are really serving me and making me feeling good? What tasks that helps me understand what I need to delegate more of or take more on of in my business? People, thoughts, and mindsets. Here's another great one that maybe is a helpful example for you guys. I hope it's helpful. I figured it would be helpful if I like walk through some of the stuff that I ended up writing out and how I handled it, so that you guys, if you're like not sure what to do, like hopefully this is just helpful. I shared last week a bunch of mindsets that really served me. If you missed last week's episode, it was so good. It's literally 11 beliefs that I have that they've changed my life. They make me feel so good. They make me show up great, create better, like literally all good things. And so there's lots that serve me. So I more was journaling for my thoughts and mindset page on ones that don't support me. And something that's been coming up a lot lately for me is, what if it all like falls apart? Because I believe it gets to get better and better and better. I'm like, but what if shit hits the fan? But what if I fail? What if I never get paid again for anything? Like those things come up, and it's me feeling a little triggered. It also was, I think when you're so busy, it's a little harder to stay rooted in, first of all, practices, but also just sometimes mindsets, because you're around so many other people and their mindsets. And this kind of positive, empowered thinking is just not as like normal and, I don't know, prevalent in our society. People are pretty negative and pretty scarcity and fear based from my experience with most people. And so for me, okay, that doesn't serve me. What can I do about it? So I got creative, and like it's good to do this when you're not triggered, because you realize like all the things, like when you're triggered, the thoughts, the things, the racing, whatever happening in your mind, ruminating, like you can do something about it. And so I was like, okay, when I am stressing about that, I'm going to either go back to my list. Remember, I have from 2 episodes ago, I keep a list of what I am planning to manifest and what I am manifesting, things I intended to manifest and things that I didn't, just great things that I had been manifesting, that maybe I thought, oh, I want that. And then it just came. So I can either go back to my list and read it, or I can like write a list of all the evidence of how things are actually working for me. Like things are happening every day, but we miss it. We don't see it because our brain is like, when it's in fight or flight, or we are kind of in a bit of a negative or uncentered mindset, or we're just off. Like we didn't get enough sleep. We did drink too much. We have been around negative people. Like those things affect us. And like knowing that helps you give yourself grace. But okay, how do I pull myself out of it? And how do I, when you come back into that, looking at the evidence, writing it down, you start noticing more and more of it. Again, reticular activating system. Once you tune into the, oh, how's it working? It starts to see. And then all of a sudden, all these other things come to mind, and it helps you shift back. So that was a very practical example. I also find myself in this energy of like, I could cause it to by making the wrong decision. I sometimes worry about making the wrong decision or doing something that I feel like maybe is not fully aligned, and then something bad happening. And like, that's not the truth. That's not the reality. Like, yes, sometimes there's like practical, I hate the word consequences because it has this negative connotation, but like, sure, negative things might come from you. Like you might not feel good the next day if you drink too much. Like that might happen, but that doesn't mean you're a bad person and that you're going to fail and end up on the streets. Like we take it a million degrees further. And so that was a mindset that hasn't been serving me, like freaking out about mistakes and thinking like bad things are going to happen if I make a choice that's not fully aligned. Like I get perfectionistic with myself. Yes, okay, you might not feel good the next day, but like you can't fuck it up. I really believe that. That's another Amanda Francis quote. I keep like quoting her because like I listened to so much of her stuff early on, like all of it comes back to like the certain phrases and sayings. But so, okay, what can I do about that? Instead of like thinking right or wrong, take the judgment out of it and shift to what would serve me, right? So if I am like, oh, I don't know if I should go on this date because I might be out late and I might not drink, like this is real for me. And then the catastrophizing comes in, like I might, I don't know, not do my work and then never make money again and die, whatever. I'm like being very extreme, but like, the anxious thoughts, the catastrophic thoughts that we end up coming up with that are like bad and bleak and dire that we like spiral to. So instead of judging myself, shift. Okay, well, if I committed to the date and I can't get out of it, how can I have this date go in a way that serves me? Okay, well, what if I set a boundary like, hey, I'm excited to meet up with you. I'm going to have 1 or 2 drinks and then head to bed at 10:30. Cool. I just shifted it to be something that serves me. Or if the date in general isn't aligned, cancel. Like I have things I can do in my power. And sure, ideally, maybe we don't cancel on people, but being in alignment to yourself is the most important thing you can do. It's so important. And sacrificing your well being for an entire night, possibly into the next day, to not disappoint somebody is codependency and people pleasing. And like, yes, it's not ideal to cancel on somebody that's maybe disrespectful to them in their time, but it's more disrespectful to dishonor yourself to that degree. And the more you do this kind of work, the less you'll end up doing that because the less you'll commit to things that aren't in alignment. This is why this is so, so, so powerful. Because yeah, like I don't want to cancel on people. I don't want to be disrespectful to other people's time and energy, but I do want to be respectful of my time and energy. And I do want to set myself up for success. And I do want to be in my purpose and live in alignment with my values. So I think canceling is sometimes a better option if you really think something is going to really be of disservice to you. And then also like there is the option of like, well, what if you go and like it goes better than you expect? You also can manifest that. Like I had a friend recently who was on the fence about going on a trip because jet lag and, kind of a vacation vibe when she wanted to work and like kind of we're so similar. It's like the same stuff we think about because we're so connected to our purpose and like feeling good. And I was like, well, what if you sleep on the plane? Like, what if you actually get to sleep on the plane and the trip is amazing and it's everything you wanted and you feel good and then you recover quickly and then you get everything done the rest of the week after the trip? Like, what if you can have it all? Like, that's also an option. But again, it starts with really getting clear on what you want, what feels expansive, what doesn't, and then how do you shift anything that doesn't feel good if the thing does feel expansive, or how do you handle it and not do the thing or shift the thing if it doesn't feel expansive. It's really all about getting clear on what serves you, what's aligned to you, and then doing what's in your power to support that. And that's what these journal prompts are for. I'm not going to go on too much longer. I do share some tips in the beginning as well. And I have you guys get clear on like how you're feeling before, what you want to get out of it. I think it's a really good journal packet, actually. I really love it. I'm definitely going to be using it, I think, every year. Probably adding to it. But a couple things I share to like help prepare yourself, as well as just the attitude of going in with like self-love and my best is enough. That's another thing I should chat about for a second before I go into explaining Kroma quickly and what that was like. But I really go into things like this with an attitude of doing my best. Like I will push myself to give what I can, but like I had some salt in one of the broths. I had a few pieces of dark chocolate. I had regular milk instead of, they say use non-dairy, but I actually love dairy milk. So like I altered it to make it doable for myself in a couple of ways. And they actually encourage that, which is something I really liked about Kroma. They say you can not use all the packets, use all the packets, add in lean meats and veggies, don't add in lean meats and veggies. They really do encourage you to kind of tune into what you need and what fits your needs and lifestyle. And you guys know I'm all about that. It's about working with yourself. And I really worked with myself on this cleanse. I helped myself just succeed, whether that be swapping around the order of some of the packets. I didn't do all of the packets every day. I mixed the green powders with the protein shake because it was just so many liquids, and I was like, I feel like the green stuff it's not going to alter the taste too much. I added salt to something so I could eat it. I added some fruit in, some lean protein. I added things in. I supported myself. And I wasn't like, when I had a piece of chocolate, I was like, okay, I'm like crashing. Oh, and I had one Georgie drink, which is like a green tea energy drink, but there's like no weird stuff. It's literally green tea is where the caffeine's from. I did not have any coffee, but I was just like, okay, I'm doing my best. I do need to show up on these days. I'm feeling kind of drained and fatigued. So how do I work with myself in a way that's going to support me, but like I'm not like going and eating like a piece of cake or having like 3 shots of espresso. You know what I mean? Like I worked with myself. I wasn't exactly perfect according to everything they said, but I was like 95%, probably 90 to 95%. And I got a lot out of it and I felt great. So go in working with yourself. Challenge yourself, but also I don't feel like perfectionism is a supportive energy for anything. And I feel like people then fall into all or nothing thinking, and then they're just like, fuck it. Like I had a piece of chocolate, it's all over. Like, can you imagine if day 2, I had the piece of chocolate and I was like, I failed off to eat like, what I have been eating, which is like ribs and mac and cheese and cake and like all this stuff. Like, no, that's just it's a self-sabotage thing. But I really was just gentle with my self-loving. I took some time off of, I was going to be more productive over the weekend and I needed rest. So I just listened to my body and really let it serve me, this cleanse overall, because that's what it's for. It's here to serve us. So yeah, so that was a lot on the like life spring cleaning that I did, was just really realigning with myself, getting clear on in all categories, like what's serving me, what's in alignment with my values and what isn't. And then what do I do about it? How do I like shift things, release the things not serving me? I also did some spring cleaning in my room, by the way, and just like getting rid of some stuff that doesn't serve me, throwing stuff out, organizing. I rearranged some drawers. Like I did some of that stuff as well. But this stuff, I feel just so much more clearer and centered and like ready to just move into the next few months and summer. And then physically, oh my goodness, day 2. So Kroma, if you are watching on YouTube, these are the little packets. It's actually really beautiful. Each day was like a beautiful color. This is day 5. Day 5 is like vibrant yellow. It's so beautiful. I love how it starts out actually as like more pastel yellow and then fades into like a dark yellow. This cleanse, I really loved it. It's my favorite cleanse I've done so far for a few reasons. Number 1, I didn't have to think. And that sounds so silly, but I feel like you guys are going to get me. Like we worry about so much. Like look at all the thinking I just did about my life. Like I really am intentional with my life. I don't really want to think about what I'm putting in my body. I just want to know it's good. And so this was like such a lifted burden to just be able to like chill and be like, it's all portioned out and laid out and tells me what's in it and what it does. And like, you know, this is energy, balance, and metabolism. This is their breakfast, their super porridge, which actually tasted really good. There's like all these healthy things in it. It's in the perfect portion size, and there's a packet and they tell you what order they recommend, but you can do it differently. You can mix it with water or milk, and how much. It just is easy. There's like, so it starts off with their matcha, which actually also tastes really good. And then there's like a breakfast porridge. Then there is an electrolyte hydration cranberry water mix thing. Then there is a smoothie. Oh, maybe I'll go make the smoothie after this, actually. This is a blueberry acai plant-based smoothie. Then lunch is bone broth. Then number 6 is fuel, it's called, and it's the Super Greens elixir. It's like 81 superfoods and vitamins, veggies and fruit blend, nutrient-dense antioxidants, minerals, and herbs, super mushroom and adaptogen blend, digestive enzymes, and dairy-free probiotics. Like so much. These things are packed with good things that I'm not getting anywhere near enough of in my life. Then the afternoon, there's a Vitality latte, which I actually felt so good after I did the passion one the other day. Amazing. It tasted good. That's, again, point 2. Dinner is veggie broth with miso. And then number 9, the last packet, is snooze. It's calming and restoring magnesium. And there's stuff that's like supposed to help you just get really good sleep. So overall, that was the first thing I loved, that everything is like portioned and ordered. So like you really don't have to think if you don't want to. Number 2 was everything tasted at least good, if not great. You know, the bone broth, I added some salt to because it was a little bland without that. The electrolyte water is like, meh. I think I had too much water in it the first few days. I did less water yesterday and I actually liked how it tasted. But yeah, like everything I thought was either delicious, like the matcha and porridge are so good. The bone broths are really good with a little salt. Actually the smoothies were really good. So I think it was like the electrolyte water and the sleep drink that I was like, okay, it's fine. It doesn't taste bad, but it doesn't taste like, you know, I wouldn't like pick this if I wanted to eat something delicious or drink something delicious, but everything tastes good overall. It's really clean, really healthy. And I also loved how I felt. I just feel clear and calm and stable and centered. And again, some of that's the internal work, but this stuff I felt really good after everything I was consuming, which I don't feel that way all the time, especially after consuming sugar or highly processed foods. So that I really loved as well. Like I just feel really great overall. I have more energy. My skin looks better. I look more awake. I feel more awake. I feel more just present. And I felt less inflamed and puffy. Day 2, I was like, oh my God, my abs. Hi. Like I felt like the inflammation just like left my body in the first 24 hours. It was great. Like I feel a lot more chiseled and sculpted and just like sucked in a little bit, if that makes sense. But and this is the 4th thing. Like I wasn't hungry or starving really throughout this. Like if I had some lean protein or veggies. Like I felt nourished and I didn't feel like I was like doing this torturous thing for myself and my body, like it felt good. And that's important to me too. Cause like we need to show up. I needed to show up for work and for people and plans. And I didn't really plan much. I did a little bit with my family, but I really kept these days very chill because I wanted to be able to like do the inner work, rest if as needed, and just like take care of myself. But I like felt good. And before like other cleanses, I feel like I was just so depleted and drained and thinking about food and starving. So I love that I didn't feel that way on this. So yeah, that was my Kroma cleanse experience. It's essentially like these 9 packets that you can have throughout the day, and then you can add things in as needed. But it was just kind of the perfect addition to doing this like life cleanse that I wanted to do, and just helping me feel recentered, feel good. I honestly, like, I do have plans this evening and I might have a drink or two, but I'm enjoying not drinking. I almost don't even want to drink tonight. Like that's how good I feel. That almost like that, like sugar and alcohol and stuff like that just doesn't feel good to me. So I hope you guys enjoyed this little like spring cleaning episode talking about just spring cleaning your entire life. I hope that the journal packet is super helpful and super supportive. I hope that you guys get a lot out of it and just feel good and clean and clear after. I think it's just so helpful to take the time and be intentional and do this a few times a year. Just sets us up for going so much faster and being like, even like more important than going fast with some of our goals is being aligned and like coming from a place of alignment, because then you're going to be doing things that really make massive impact in your life and are adding value. You're not just like doing to do, you're doing the things that are going to really get you where you want to be, and you're stepping into your future self. So I hope you guys loved. And also, if you could rate and review the podcast. I'm trying to be better about asking that. I would love, it would be so helpful to me. It doesn't have to be long unless you want it to be, obviously go for it. But anything is super helpful and supportive. And also sharing. If you really enjoyed it and you got a lot out of it, please share with somebody who you think would also enjoy it and get a lot out of it. That helps me, helps the podcast grow. It helps us reach more people, helps just help more people. So yeah, would love if you could support me in that way. And I'm looking forward to the episode after this because I'm so excited for you to meet the guest. She's really cool. All right, I'll see you guys next time.